Hello everyone, welcome to NCERT 6 to 10 class in short. Today we will be continuing the grade 6 history chapter what, where, how and when. This is the third part. Before moving to today's class, if you really like the class, please like the video, share it, comment on the video, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Click on all for getting all the notifications. Now let's recall what I have learned so far. By learning history, one can know about the food, clothes, houses and lifestyles of our earlier generations. People who lived on the banks of the Narmada river were skilled gatherers. They ate the fruits, roots and leaves of plants. About 8,000 years ago, people in the Suleiman and Kirta hills started to cultivate wheat and barley. They also reared animals like sheep and goats. Rice was first grown to the north of Vindhyas. About 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the banks of the river Indus. The area along the south of the river Ganga was known as Magadha, which was a powerful kingdom of those times. Throughout, people traveled from one part of the subcontinent to the other part for satisfying various needs. Ideas were shared among people through these journeys. Although there were natural frontiers like hills, mountains and seas, they did not affect the journey of the people. The movement of people enriched our cultural traditions. They have shared their ideas. Regarding the names of the country, the word India comes from Indus and the word Bharata comes from group of people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in the Rig Veda. The life of the past people can be learned by studying manuscripts, inscriptions and archaeology. Handwritten books or documents used in the olden days are known as manuscripts. They were usually written on palm leaves or birch of trees. Inscriptions are writings on relatively hard surfaces like stone or metal. Archaeology is the study of the human past using material remains. The person who studies archaeology is an archaeologist. Archaeologists study human history by excavating and examining material like stone, metal, brick, paintings, sculptures, tools, weapons, pots, pans, ornaments, and coins. They also look for bones of fishes, birds, and animals. Plant remains to survey far more rarely. They may be seen in a charred form if seeds or woods are burnt. Now, the next part, one past or many. Normally we use the term past as past, but in our textbook it is given as pasts because the word past was different for different groups of people. So the word past is used as past in our textbook. Let's see how the word past become past for different groups of people. The life of herders and farmers were different from that of king and queen. The life of merchants were different from that of a craft person. Even at present, the customs and practices in different parts of the country are different. This difference was seen even in the earlier times. The lifestyle, food, clothes and everything we are using are different in different states. This difference was there in the beginning. That means in the olden India itself there were differences among the people, among the group of people who were living. For instance, if a person is living in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they know how to fish, they know how to live in that way. But a person who is living in a city wanted to serve their food by others. So in the same way, there were differences in the lifestyle of people in different regions in the past too. Besides this, there is another kind of difference. We know a great deal about the kings and the battles they fought because they kept the records of their victories. Ordinary people, on the other hand, did not keep records of what they did and hence much information about their lives remain unknown. Now let's think about what do dates mean. Here you can see the calendar 2022. The year 2022 means 2022 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. The years are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ. All the dates before the birth of Jesus Christ are generally counted backwards and usually have the letters BC, that means before Christ. That is, we say that the wheel was invented in 4000 BC, that means 4000 years back the wheel was invented. Similarly, you can see some letters may be there with the dates, that means BC. BC means before Christ. AD, you can see AD means in Latin it is mean Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, that is Christ. So the year 2022 can be written as 2022 AD. Sometimes CE is used of AD and BC is used of BC. That means CE means Common Era and BCE means before Common Era. Now, inscriptions are inscribed over 100,000 years ago. All inscriptions contain scripts and languages. These languages and scripts may change over time. This is a fact. That means we are using a different language which is very different from the language we have used from the olden people. Then, how do scholars understand what was inscribed, or how do the common people or people like us can understand what do they have inscribed? That means the olden people, how can we understand the meaning of it? How can we understand the ideas? What was the idea they have shared through their inscriptions without knowing the language or scripts? How can we study about that language or the language used by the olden people? There is a way. This can be done through a process known as decipherment. Decipherment can be better understood by a story from Egypt. Egypt is a country in North Africa, and it had kings and queens about 5000 years ago. Rosetta is a town on the north coast of Egypt, and here an inscribed stone was found which contained inscriptions in 3 different languages and scripts. One is in Greek and the other 2 forms of Egyptian were found. Scholars who could read Greek figured out that the names of kings and queens were enclosed in little frame called a cartouche. They then placed the Greek and the Egyptian signs side by side and identified the sounds for which the Egyptian letters stood. As you can see, a lion stood for L and a bird for A. Once they knew what the letters stood for, they could read the other inscriptions as well. In this way, they have deciphered the meanings what the olden people have shared to us. So this is what we call as decipherment. So this is the end of our chapter, and we will be discussing the question and answers of this chapter in the next video. Until then, bye and thank you.